What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got how good is Jalen Hurts actually? Let's check this out.
It's unbelievable. I dreamed about this.
Jalen Hurts was runner-up for the Heisman.
Memorial Trophy.
That's my guy right there.
MVP finalist.
Went to Bama.
He's
You know what I'm saying? Roll Tide.
Team All-Pro.
And Hurts gets the standing ovation.
And has now made
Now
two
Super Bowl champion, bro.
But
He definitely a top 5 quarterback, bro. If you say Hurts not a top 5 quarterback, you're just generally hating at this point. Not gonna lie.
With a lot of talented players around him, many NFL fans have debated whether or not Jalen Hurts is good or great.
I'll say this. Saquon is the reason they got to the Super Bowl. I'll say that right there. But Hurts is the reason why they won the Super Bowl. Take that how you want, bro.
This question.
Real shit. Hurts the reason why they won the Super Bowl.
Jalen Hurts was born in Houston to mother Pamela and father Avarian Hurts.
Okay.
And grew up in Channelview, Texas, a town just outside of Houston. Jalen was immersed in football from a young age, with a father who was a head coach at the local high school, and he grew up with two
Chicago
siblings,
Bears.
his brother Avarian Jr., who was a football coach just like his father, and his sister Kennedy. Jalen attended Channelview High School, played quarterback.
I'm not gonna say nothing, bro. I'm not gonna say nothing.
In his senior season, Jalen threw for just under 2,400 yards, with 26 passing touchdowns, and added another 1,400 rushing yards, with 25 touchdowns on the ground as well.
Damn.
Jalen also competed in powerlifting, and was reported.
Don't he squat like 600 pounds now, bro? Him and Saquon.
As a recruit, Jalen was a 4-star coming out of high school, and while Texas A&M tried their best to bring Hurts to College Station, Lane Kiffin, the offensive coordinator for Alabama, ultimately won out, and Jalen was headed to Tuscaloosa.
Yes,
as a true freshman, Hurts lost out on the starting job in summer camp to Blake Barnett, who started week 1 against USC. But by week 2, Hurts was the starter in only his first season under Saban. After he took over, Hurts was phenomenal as a freshman, throwing for just under 2,800 yards and 23 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions, adding another 954 yards on the ground, an Alabama single-season record as a quarterback, and another 13 rushing touchdowns. That season, Jalen had an incredible 139.4 passer rating, and also set the single-season total touchdown mark for the Tide, with 36, breaking Sim's record of 35, set in the 2014 season. Jalen's historic freshman season didn't stop there. He became the first Alabama quarterback to throw for 300 and rush for 100 yards in a single game, and the first Tide QB to rush for 120 or more yards in multiple games as well. As a team, the Tide rolled through the 2016 regular season to a perfect 12-0 record, and a victory over Florida in the SEC Championship. Hurts won SEC Freshman of the Year, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, and led Alabama to a #1 overall seed in the college football playoff. In the semifinals against Washington, Alabama had no problem with the Huskies, earning a national title berth with a final score of 24-7. Hurts, however, was rather pedestrian, only completing 50% of his passes for 57 yards, and only 2.6 yards per carry on the ground, with 50 rushing yards on 19 carries, as Bo Scarborough ran Bama to the championship.
Bro, I forgot about Bo Scarborough.
19 carries as well.
Ain't he in the UFL now?
In the national title, Hurts improved his raw passing and rushing numbers, but his efficiency through the air dipped, only completing 42% of his passes for 131 yards and a touchdown, with 63 yards on 10 carries and a touchdown on the ground. His effort, simply put, wasn't enough to get the Tide over the top, as Clemson won the game on a last-second touchdown from Watson.
I remember this game.
The following season, Bama reloaded, and Hurts returned as a starter, leading the Tide.
Didn't Tua replace him this year? I mean, that year right there, bro.
Hurts' numbers dipped across the board, throwing and rushing for fewer yards and fewer touchdowns than he had as a true freshman. Nevertheless, Alabama was loaded for bear, and snuck into the college football playoff as the 4 seed, where they matched up for a third time against Clemson, this time in the semifinals. In the game, Alabama got the best of the Tigers in the rubber match, with a 24-6 victory over Clemson. Hurts had better efficiency this time around, completing 67% of his passes, albeit for only 120 yards, but added 2 scores through the air and another 40 yards on the ground. In the title game against Kirby Smart, former Saban assistant, and Georgia, Hurts struggled mightily in the first half.
Tua replaced him in this game. We won.
Less than 50% of his passes for only 21 yards, as Bama fell behind 13-0.
Tua and Smitty.
To start the second half, Saban decided it was time for a change, and made a gutsy decision to bench Jalen in favor of true freshman Tua Tagovailoa. The decision came up aces for Saban and the Tide, as Tua threw for 166 yards and 3 scores in the second half and overtime, winning the game for the Tide on an incredible throw to Devonta Smith on 2nd and 26 to give their Tide their second national title in 3 seasons.
Yes, Sirski.
Hurts, amazing.
We win it all next season, bro. We'll be back.
Cheering on the young freshman and his Tide teammates the entire way. If he was hurt by Saban's decision, he certainly didn't show it. And before
Bro, I thought I was Brian Daboll,
electing to stay with the Tide as opposed to transferring somewhere else. But before we get to that, a quick word from our sponsor.
Okay,
Today's
bro.
video is sponsored.
Okay, bro.
In a massive addition. As a junior, Hurts
W
put
Snipe?
work,
W Snipe?
even after losing his
Hey,
starting
you
job.
gotta give me credit on that. I ain't gonna lie.
Jalen still saw game action, but took this time as a backup to develop more as a passer, knowing that someday his time may come again to show how special he truly was.
Then he
In
transferred to Oklahoma.
2018, Alabama completed a perfect regular season, with Tua as the starter, and faced off in the playoffs. Tua returned as a starter, leading Bama to a victory over Tigers in the national title, 44-16.
So I feel like that
At the conclusion of his
definitely did
junior
happen
season,
down the
Hurts
stretch.
had completed his undergraduate degree at Alabama, and realized that in order to get to the next level, he needed to transfer. And although he wanted to remain loyal to the Tide, it was time to make
I understand
a
it,
decision
bro.
about his future.
You know what I'm saying?
Prior to his senior year, Hurts transferred to play for Oklahoma, and more importantly, Lincoln Riley, head coach of the previous 2 Heisman Trophy winners, Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. As a senior, Hurts had his breakout campaign. He threw for over 3,800 yards, nearly 1,100 better
Damn,
than
over
his previous
1,200
best
yards
freshman in
rushing?
2016. Jalen had 32 passing
20
touchdowns,
rushing
throwing 8
tuds?
interceptions, an incredible
Oh my
4-to-1 ratio,
gosh.
and added a whopping 1,298 yards and 20 touchdowns on the
Excuse
ground.
me.
Also career bests. Jalen helped lead Oklahoma to a 12-1 record and a Big 12 title. He was a Heisman finalist and finalist for many other season awards, which in many years he would have won, if not for this guy, who had arguably the most historic Heisman season in football history. Jalen finished
boy,
runner-up
Joe
in the
Brrr.
Heisman voting and many other awards to Burrow, but his accomplishment as a senior in Norman certainly didn't go unnoticed. In the college football playoff semifinals, Jalen had his chance to exact revenge against Burrow, but the Tigers were simply too much for Oklahoma, as Burrow had one of the greatest performances in college football history.
They
and
got
historic
waxed
beatdown
this
of Hurts
game,
and the
bro.
Sooners, 63-28. Although
That,
Jalen
bro, that
and Sooners
LSU
didn't have
team
enough
was
to beat the
too
historic
dominant,
LSU Tigers, Jalen managed to complete his Masters and declared for the NFL draft. Now, it was draft time. And don't worry, we'll make a decision on where Jalen stacks up in this generation of quarterbacks. But
Okay.
first we have to go over how his NFL career has panned out thus far. At the Combine, Jalen performed well in nearly every test, except for his RAS size grade, which at 6'1" and 222 pounds was considered poor for a quarterback. But he was elite in the speed and explosion metrics. With an interesting college resume, many scouts and NFL execs were unsure on where Jalen fit as a prospect. And he fell out of the first round in the
Damn.
2020 NFL Draft, with 4 quarterbacks, Burrow, Tua, Herbert, and Jordan Love, all
That
being
shit was a
selected
shocker.
for him. Finally, with the 53rd overall pick, the Eagles, who had some lingering questions at the quarterback position,
Carson
selected Jalen
Wentz,
in
bro.
the
Who
second
remember
round.
2017 Carson Wentz, bro?
As a rookie, Hurts started at 3rd on the depth chart, behind Nate Sudfeld, but quickly moved up to the backup role, helping the Eagles in some QB run packages. Ultimately, the 2020 season wasn't a great one for Philly. The Eagles finished 4-11-1 in the campaign, and Hurts didn't see starting time until December, when Carson Wentz was finally benched for poor play. Hurts finished his rookie season with 4 starts, finishing 1-3.
I ain't gonna lie, like the
And
first couple
1,061
seasons, I had my
yards,
doubts about
6
Hurts, like
touchdowns, 4
being a good
interceptions,
QB in the
and another
NFL.
354
Like these
rushing
last
yards
couple of
and 3
seasons,
touchdowns on
he's
the
been
ground.
proving me wrong, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
At the conclusion of the 2020 season, Doug Peterson was out as Philly's head coach, and Nick Sirianni was hired. In year 2, as a full-time starter, Hurts and the Eagles bounced back quickly under Sirianni. Jalen had an incredible opener against the Falcons, throwing for 3 touchdowns and finishing with a passer
Like
rating
and
of
Eagles fans,
126.4.
would y'all already say that Hurts is the best Eagles quarterback of all time already? Because he is the first Eagles quarterback to, you know what I'm saying, reach 2 Super Bowls. So, you know, and then he's got one, you know what I'm saying, tied with Nick Foles. So would y'all say that he's already the best Eagles quarterback of all time? You know what
The
I'm
Eagles
saying?
finished 9-8 that season.
I can kind of see it.
And Jalen
Not
threw
gonna
for
lie.
over 3,100 yards, 16 touchdowns, totaling 9 interceptions, and had 784 yards on the ground, a career high, and 10 rushing touchdowns. In the playoffs, however, Jalen and the Eagles showed that they still had growing to do. Hurts struggled, losing a fumble and throwing 2 interceptions, as Philly lost to Tom Brady and the defending Super Bowl champion Bucs, 31-15. Before year 3 of Hurts and year 2 of Sirianni, it was clear the Eagles had some work to do to get to the next level. Well, GM Howie Roseman got to work.
That boy Howie Roseman is a demon, bro.
The Titans for stud receiver.
Just
Jalen's
robbed
good
the
friend,
Titans.
AJ Brown.
Literally,
AJ
for
now
basically a
played
bag
for
of chips, because
teammate
that first
and
round pick was
2021
wasted
first-round
like
pick Devonta
crazy.
Smith. The Eagles were loaded
Schmidt
at
it.
receiver. In 2022, the connection between Hurts and AJ Brown was immediate, and the Eagles exploded.
That's what
finished
took Hurts to the
14-3
next
in the
level
season.
right there.
Hurts threw for over
Like that's
3,700
all.
yards.
That's all some quarterbacks need is a true elite, true number one wide receiver to take them to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Because you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, Hurts and AJ Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like
22
every
touchdowns,
quarterback needs
both career highs
that
for this
one
team,
receiver to take them
and
to
had
the
over
next level.
700 yards on the ground with another 13 touchdowns. Hurts made the Pro Bowl. Was a
Then you got
second-team
Kyler Murray
All-Pro,
and D-Hop. You
and
know what I'm
now
saying? That
famous
took
tush
Kyler
push
to the next
that
level.
officially worked
We know
its way into the
Kyler's been
spotlight.
kind of up and down these last couple
On the
years.
play, Hurts would drive forward on a QB sneak, with All-Pro center Jason Kelsey bowling over defenders in front of him and his teammates pushing behind him. The
This
Eagles were
play is
incredibly efficient on the
unstoppable,
play,
bro.
converting a first down at a staggering 93% clip.
Damn.
The tush push was crucial to the Eagles' success in the regular season and would continue to help them in the playoffs. In the divisional round, the Eagles walked over their hated division rival, the New York Giants, 30-7.
37. Damn.
In the NFC Championship, rolled over the quarterback depleted Niners as well, 31-7, to make it back to the Super Bowl for the first time since the miraculous 2017-2018 campaign. Hurts was solid enough in the first 2 playoff games, but in the Super Bowl, Hurts really shined. Philly and Hurts jumped all over Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Hurts kicked off the Super Bowl scoring with a
The Eagles
touchdown
still
on a Pat
should have
tush
won this
push.
game, bro.
Added
That
another
weak-ass
45-yard
holding
touchdown
call.
pass to his favorite target, AJ Brown, to take a 14-7 lead. Then answered a Chiefs fumble recovery touchdown with a touchdown of his own to take a 21-14 lead. And then finally added another field goal before the break. In the second half, however, the Chiefs came storming back, scoring 2 touchdowns in their first 2 drives.
Darius
With a Philly
Toney
field goal
had
sandwich
like
in
that's just
between.
still not sitting well.
Score was
Meaning
now
he got a ring,
28-27
bro.
Chiefs. Philly
Crazy.
failed to score on their next possession. Mahomes and the Chiefs added another touchdown, taking an 8-point lead, with 9 minutes left in the fourth. But Hurts and the Eagles answered. Jalen led an 8-play,
That was a
75-yard
fucking
drive,
dime.
which he capped off with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the contest, and converted the 2-point conversion as well for the Octopus, not in the game at
For the
35 all.
octopus.
But the Chiefs, seasoned by 2 Super Bowl performances and a Lombardi of their own, answered the bell again with a 12-play, 66-yard drive.
And the bell out of
Capped off by
hell,
a
bro.
Harrison Butker field goal that left only 8 seconds on the clock. Hurts' Hail Mary attempt came up short, as did the Eagles' Super Bowl aspirations, as the Chiefs won their 2nd Super Bowl with Mahomes under center. Coming off Super Bowl losses, teams often struggle to find their footing, but this wasn't true of Sirianni, Hurts, and the Eagles, at least in the early going. The Eagles had lost
Yeah, bro,
both of their
that
coordinators,
collapse
and
that
Sirianni
year
replaced with
was
Brian Johnson
insane,
on
bro.
offense and Sean Desai on defense. The coordinator moves didn't seem to impact the Eagles too much early on, as Philly won their first 5, dropped a game to the Jets in Week 6, but then
That was
rattled off
unbelievable.
5 more wins for an awesome 10-1 start to the season.
Then it ended up
Then
what 11
things
and
went off the
6.
rails. Philly struggled down the stretch, with rumblings of issues in the locker room, the coordinator hires, and questions about Sirianni swirling, as the teams lost 6 of their final 7 games, with the lone win coming against the Giants, and suffered a blowout loss in the wild card round to the Baker Mayfield-led Bucs.
They got
32-9,
smoked that game.
a game in which Hurts actually played fairly well, at least according to his quarterback rating, with a mark of over 100, but the Eagles failed to get much of anything going on the ground.
It's
Rushing
just like
for
the
only 42
offense
yards,
wasn't
15
consistent in
carries
this game.
as a team in the game.
Bucks defense swarming
Hurts
around
actually had
every
a career
play,
year
bro.
that year in passing yards and touchdowns, but threw 15 interceptions. The lack of a super strong ground game really plagued the Eagles down the stretch.
That's why they brought in
It was clear to Howie
Saquon.
Roseman that once again changes needed to be made.
And that took a lot of pressure off of Hurts.
Veteran Vic Fangio on defense.
But Hurts,
The
you know what I'm saying,
offense,
did what
with
it
Barkley now in
took
the
to win
fold,
games, bro.
drastically improved. Hurts only threw for 2,900 yards this season, but was efficient, with career marks in both
Facts.
completion percentage and passer rating, as well as a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Saquon ran for over 2,000 yards, and the Eagles' defense has been stifling their first year under Fangio. In the playoffs so far, the Eagles shut down the Packers' offense in the wildcard round with a 22-10 victory, and had another gutsy performance against the Rams, at which Saquon went crazy in the divisional round, leading the Eagles to their second conference championship appearance in 3 seasons, with Hurts under center and Sirianni as head coach. Against division rival Washington in the NFC title, the Eagles' offense and Saquon went off, putting up 55 points in a blowout victory over Jaden Daniels and the Commanders for yet another Super Bowl berth against, the Chiefs.
Smoke they ass.
Now,
We still smoking that
before
Chiefs
the big
pack,
game,
nigga.
Let's talk about Hurts and where he ranks. In only 4 seasons as a starter, Hurts is a second-team All-Pro and a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's the best running quarterback in the game, outside of Lamar Jackson,
Facts.
and is solid through the air. With so much talent around him, is he overrated in the eyes of NFL fans or underrated? Well, where does he rank?
I feel
against his
like
peers?
I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Yeah,
I still feel like Hurts is madly underrated, bro. Cause like, yeah, his stats might not be like eye popping, but when it comes to the playoffs, bro, he does what it takes to win games, bro, and he's so super efficient. Like that's all that really matters for real, gang.
There are only 4
You know what I'm
quarterbacks
saying?
who are widely considered better than Hurts: Mahomes, Allen, Jackson.
Mahomes not even top 5 after this
Let's see
year, bro.
if the numbers tell the same story. By statistics, we'll compare each player to Jalen using StatHead, starting
Okay.
from their sophomore seasons, as Hurts wasn't a full-time starter in his first year. Let's compare the 4 seasons
Neither
as
was
full-time
LJ.
starters after year 1 to get an idea of how Jalen ranks up against these quarterbacks by the numbers.
Okay.
As expected, Mahomes clears Hurts in every passing category, while Hurts performs much better than Pat in nearly every rushing category. Still, overall, Mahomes has 3 more Super Bowl rings, a higher approximate value, aka AV, the single number metric StatHead uses to compare players across years and positions. And Mahomes is also better in every other award/honor category. After Mahomes, believe it or not,
I mean, you forgot his Super Bowl MVP, my nigga. I ain't gonna lie, gang.
things start to get a lot murkier in these comparisons. Jackson has the sole MVP in the compared seasons, which Hurts obviously does not. The first team All-Pro compared to Hurts' second team All-Pro, as well as more passing touchdowns and a higher quarterback rating. But
He got more
Hurts
passing
has 2
yards,
more Super
damn.
Bowl appearances than Jackson. A team metric, no
Ouch,
doubt,
bro, like-
a not insignificant metric to keep in mind, as well as a higher AV. And while Lamar has been awesome in the few seasons since then, the comparison over this time frame is a lot closer than the narrative may indicate, and is closer to a wash than a win for Jackson. If anything, an argument can clearly be made for Hurts, given team success in the playoffs. Well, what about Burrow? The 2 were drafted in the same draft, after all. In only a 3-game difference, Burrow blows Hurts out of the water in every passing category.
Damn.
Burrow also has a Super Bowl appearance of his own, and 2 Pro Bowls, just like Hurts. But Hurts, well, he blows out Burrow in all the rushing categories. Jalen's got the All-Pro nomination, and 2 Super Bowl appearances to Joe's 1. And in probably the
Super
most
Bowl ring.
surprising statistic of them all, AV, Hurts is way better than Burrow,
God
with
damn.
an AV of 71, compared to only 56 for
Holy
Burrow.
shit.
In what many may consider to be a highly favorable conversation for
They've
Burrow,
only played each other
it's probably
one
a
time in a
wash.
regular
It may even
season.
be a W
That don't
by the
seem
numbers,
right.
Awards and honors for Jalen.
I know Burrow has like had
Lastly,
2 seasons
Allen
in the
versus
entries,
Hurts.
but like what?
This one may turn some heads as well. Nearly a complete wash. Awards and honors are identical. Allen has the better passing numbers, Hurts has the better rushing numbers, slight AV edge, and 2 more Super Bowl appearances. Wow. To be honest, when making this video, I wasn't sure what to expect, or what the conclusion would be. But these comparisons are, well, eye-opening. After conducting this exercise, it's fair to say that Hurts, by the numbers, has established himself as a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Facts.
Now, let's look at the national media narrative and see if Hurts is overrated or underrated in the
Okay.
eyes of the pundits. Chris Sims, the famous QB guru who does his top 40 quarterback countdown every season, had Hurts at 25th before 2022, which is fair considering he had his breakout in 2022, and then at 7th in 2023 after the Super Bowl appearance and breakout campaign. The 4 quarterbacks that we mentioned previously, as well as Herbert, yikes, and Lawrence, double yikes, were
Holy
ahead of
shit.
Hurts.
Oh.
In 2024, Sims had Hurts again behind the 4 quarterbacks mentioned.
Nigga, like, bro, I don't understand why the fuck is Burrow over Lamar? He's only beaten Lamar one time. How is Burrow is nowhere near better than Lamar, bro? Like, they need to stop this fucking narrative, gang.
Stafford,
Like,
Herbert,
real
and
shit.
Stroud, and Prescott. Interesting. Well, what about other news outlets? Well, Fox Sports put out an article before the 2024 season that had Hurts ranked 10th, behind the other quarterbacks mentioned before, except for Herbert, who didn't even make the list, but also put Aaron Rodgers and Brock Purdy above Hurts in this ranking. But, to be fair, had Hurts at 5 in their 2023 edition.
We're putting A-Rod
NFL.com
over
writer
Jalen
Nick
Hurts
Shook
in
had Hurts ranked
2025?
10th prior to the 2024 campaign. PFF had Hurts 9th in the May of 2024 article. And Nick writes Mahomes Mountain, well, we're not even going to talk about whatever the heck that is.
Hold the fuck up. 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 I know damn well this motherfucker didn't just put Caleb Williams over Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Dak Prescott. T-Law, yeah, that's yeah, you know. Well, I don't know. Like, bro. And this is entering week 1. Like, bro, this has got to be the most dick-sucking shit I've ever seen. The Mahomes Mountain? Are we fucking serious? Bro, oh my gosh, bro. You gonna need fucking lube to take his dick out they fucking throat. Like, real shit, nigga. Oh my gosh.
Bryce Mahomes Mountain, well, we're not even going to talk about whatever the heck that is. Now, looking at the numbers and comparing it to rankings from NFL pundits, as well as discourse across the NFL world on X, it's hard not to believe, at least at this point, Hurts isn't at least slightly underrated, if not completely. Jalen, by the numbers, has been, well, very, very good, if not great, since he took over as a full-time starter in 2021.
2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl rings, Super Bowl MVP.
He doesn't generate similar buzz to Allen, Burrow, and Jackson. Listen,
like, but all I'm gonna say is this: once Lamar gets his ring, he will definitely go down as a top 10 QB of all time. I'm saying this shit right now. That's the only thing he's missing. He's got all the accolades, all the, you know what I'm saying, the broken records. But when he gets his ring, because he's getting his ring before he retires. When he gets his ring, he will be a top 10 quarterback of all time. Maybe even top 5. And that's not pushing it. I'm being so dead serious. All we need is just one season of playoff success for him to get a Super Bowl ring. Just one. That's all I'm asking for is one ring. I'm not asking to win back-to-back. I'm not asking to three-peat. Just one. That's all I want. Is to see this nigga win one ring. Like, real shit, gang. Like,
I'm not going to put anyone into that category. Regardless of what you think of the guy, he's going to go down as the greatest of a generation. But as for the other quarterbacks in Hurts, well, it's a lot closer than the experts might lead on. Sure, Philly may have put a lot of talent around him, but is that really his fault?
No, that's not his fault. That's what you're supposed to do, gang.
What is asked.
You're supposed to put hella talent around your quarterback.
And result.
Because you're trying to win rings.
He's thought
like
of
real shit.
And his legacy. Well, with a win, it will do a whole hell of a lot. And with a loss, well, it's hard to say for sure. One thing we can say before the game, as of now, is that Jalen Hurts is a high-level quarterback. And if anything...
Oh, so he must have recorded this before the Super Bowl. Hey, man. This is a good-ass vid. I ain't gonna lie. I want to know what you guys think, though, down in the comments below. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know what other NFL videos y'all want me to react to. Without further ado, I'm out.
I'ma make them feel me, make them people when they show me. And if you don't know me, I'ma make sure that you know me. I hate to say it, but I really think I'm broke. But I know I'm chosen, I really know I'm chosen. I know I'm chosen. I was just lost a year ago, but now I'm focused. When good at sports, this microphone can be my trophy. Not taking drugs, I found a better way of coping.